Hey Drone, what's going on, guys? SYMA X15W gonna be jumpified. The last thing that I used on this jumper was the new SYMA. So all I have to do is turn this on. We'll get little lights blinking underneath. We have green in the back, red in the front. It seems to be a SYMA thing. Can't quite get with it. And then all I gotta do is turn this on. It's bound, because SYMA, that's one thing I absolutely like about SYMA, is they utilize the same protocol for 90% of their drones. This is altitude hold drone, so what we need to do, we need to throttle all the way up, bring it down, and then go above 50%, and then it'll take off. And then we are in the air. Now we can fly this like a little bit sportier than it normally would be. There is a camera on this. I believe it was a Wi-Fi camera. I have no need to tap into that Wi-Fi camera because I'm not flying FPV via a Wi-Fi camera. I really wish companies would get back to the basics and start just including a basic camera that we can hit a toggle or hit a switch and it'll just record right to the SD card, because most people are not going to navigate off of a Wi-Fi FPV camera. And if you do, chances are you are going to hit something. We'll go ahead and bring this over here so you could have a look at it. Bam! We'll turn it around this way. I do have a wind that is blowing that way. It's probably like a 5 to 6 mile an hour wind, and on the jumper at 125% speed rates, this is having zero issues with it. This is a brush drone. From the looks of it, it looks gear to gear. It's probably gear to gear, as opposed to direct feed like some of the smaller Hubsons. Now this battery was actually showing no voltage. I went to charge this battery on my hobby grade charger and I showed 0 voltage, so I kind of trickle charged it, got it up to 3.7, and then put it on a LiPo charge, and we'll see what type of flight time we get. If we get a full flight time, it was a successful save of the battery. It also has a weird connection. It looks like a JST connection. It's a red tip, but it is basically primarily, from what I know, a SYMA connection. It's a little bit wider spread than the JST connection and has a funny little center spot on it. Bam! A little look at it. We'll come back. Now, range monster. This thing is a range monster on the jumper. We took a X22 or X23, I think it was, or maybe a X21, one of the smaller X20s, and we put an AIO on it and went out over a 1/4 mile with it. The only thing that was stopping us from going out further was time. A small drone with an extra battery and an AIO on top of it is also going to decrease time. So that's the only reason I didn't go out further, because we definitely could have went further. This is a little bit bigger than those two drones, so we could probably do that to this one. It's really cold out today, so that's why I'm not really messing around with FPV, and we'll go ahead and lift up again. A little look at it, little look at it, little look at it, and then we'll take off. This drone's a nice drone. A big takeaway from this, if you're new to my channel, I know there's a lot of people new to my channel around the Christmas holidays. You guys get drones and you're looking for somebody for instruction. And if you ended up here, I do appreciate that. I try to be as specific without being as technical. That way any person of any skill level can understand what I'm saying. But a big takeaway from this is this jumper T8SG, the controller that's in my hand. This controller, this is the plus, the silver and black one is the regular one. They both bind to everything that the other one does. The light, if you see the jumper light, that's going to be very specific for somebody that's looking for a smaller controller for hobby grade stuff. It is not going to bind to all these toy grades. And then if you see a T12 from jumper, that is going to be operating off of OpenTX, which I really don't know well. I can limp around in it, but deviation, which this jumper plus is operating off of, deviation to me is very simple, and I have tons of videos showing how to bind stuff to deviation. This, it's very simple. You turn on, you go into a new model, you name it SYMA, you go down to your protocol, you find the SYMA X protocol, and you turn your drone on and hit bind. That's it. It is as simple as that. I do have a video showing on how to set different speed rates if you wanted this flying in 25%, 75%, 125%. I got a video on that as well. Guys, it is a day before Old St. Nick's coming, so if you're going to be out partying, visiting friends and family, please do so. Be safe. And if you have any questions, comments, concerns down below, definitely get at me. I'm pretty good at getting back at you guys. I know I had somebody having issues with their breeze, and they couldn't get the controller bound, and kind of walked them through. I was at work today. I did go into work for like 3 or 4 hours today, and as I had downtime at work, I kind of walked somebody through commenting on YouTube how to get the controller bound, and they said it worked. So they got a new drone for Christmas that they weren't able to fly prior. This thing's getting a good flight time. This is getting a really good flight time. And again, guys, 0. The voltage on this battery was 0. I put it on one of the settings, I forget which setting I put it on my B6, just to get it up to 3.7, and then I put it on LiPo to finish it off, and it seems to have worked. Seems to have worked. The voltage is obviously stable. The voltage stuck in the LiPo battery, so it's definitely a nice resurrection of this battery. Red in the front, SYMA. Come on, let's flip it. Let's flip it around. Then, whoa, easy tree. If we could flip those lights around, then SYMA has got the whole package deal. We got great orientation lights, and we have drones ranging from the X22s to this one, to the X5s, to the X8s, all binding underneath the same protocol, which is allowing us to use these jumpers. It's allowing to use a deviated controller, and also not having to change up protocols, not having to fill up space in your controller with SYMA X5C, with a SYMA X, with a SYMA X8HW, you don't have to rename it. It's just SYMA. Whatever SYMA drones you have will bind to it. There's 2 of them. There's one that has 2 blades in the front, and then it looks like 1 blade in the back, but there's actually 2 on top of one another. That one and the foldable SYMA, they're not on this protocol. I'm actually not familiar with what protocol they're on, but the rest of them, every other SYMA that I've tried, and I own a lot of SYMA drones, they've been on the same SYMA protocol, which is awesome. Go ahead and bring this down. It does look like it's snowing periodically here. I don't know if we're supposed to get any more snow. This thing's getting, and again, it's cold out here, so I'm anticipating going inside, so I'm really not sure about time, but it seems to be getting a really good flight time. And it's flying really well. The jumper plus, whoa. Thought we were getting in that tree. A little buzz bot. The jumper plus has Hall gimbals on it, so control on these drones is pretty epic versus a plastic controller. The T8SG silver and black doesn't have Hall gimbals, but it does have better controls than again, a small plastic controller that you would get with one of these. All my SYMA controllers are in a bin. They're not even in the drone room. All of them are in a bin. I don't use any SYMA controllers, any stock plastic SYMA controllers for the drones anymore. I use T8SG. It makes no sense for me to be using a toy grade controller on these drones, even though they're toy grade, but I could be operating off of one of these jumpers. Link for the jumper will be down below. Link for this will be down below. I've had this drone for a while. This drone's not new to me, but I figured, hey, might as well try to maintain batteries, because that's what I've been doing. I've been pulling out old stock and trying to maintain batteries, and so far so good. And this one was actually the only one that I've encountered that was at 0. Like, we flew the Phantom yesterday, we flew an SYMA yesterday. We've been pulling out old stock, just kind of like flashback. And don't worry though, I do have new stock. I have new stuff for the channel, but for right now we're kind of maintaining batteries. Having so many drones, that's kind of one thing that we have to do. Now, LVC just kicked. We could probably fly this for another minute to 2 minutes, because clearly the battery took the voltage, but I don't know when I'm going to fly this again. So what we are going to do, we are just going to bring it over here, throttle up and kill throttle. I'm all the way down. Blades should shut off as they did. Guys, X15W on the jumper T8SG Plus. If you haven't subscribed, smash the subscribe button. Questions, comments, concerns down below. And again, safe travels to everybody visiting family, partying, whatever you're doing. Later.